Okay, so what we said we'd cover today is baseline training on stock take. So we've got Michael here, who's part of our installation and training team. So Michael, before we get into it, I just want to ask you a series of questions just to help kind of position this. Most people do their stock take at the end of the financial year. The way we train our customers is they can do stock take at any time during the year.
Correct.
And that's partly because the tax office doesn't require a fixed stock take on June 30. They'll accept if so long as you've got accurate stock on hand data. So in retailer itself, it's fair to say we have a number of ways we can do a stock take, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
So there's the full stock take, which we're going to talk about. But you've also got these things called, say, spot stock takes or particular area sort of stock takes that we can do.
Yeah, a custom stock take is where you
Yep. So give us an idea of where you see a custom stock take being used.
A custom stock take would be used if you only want to stock take a particular department, say magazines or chemicals or stock feed or cards, and just one particular area. But it can also be done by supplier if you prefer to manage your stock mainly by supplier rather than department. But there's not many people that do that. But
and we could also do a custom stock take where we've got a part of the shop where we're suspicious that theft's occurring.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like a common area would be cigarettes. For any customer that trades in a lot of cigarettes, if you think it's being stolen or something like that, doing a constant stock take on that would be accurate.
And a custom stock take could be for something as small as a single item, or it could be for 30 or 40 items.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can be like, as I said, a whole department, which could range from a few thousand right down to just a few hundred, or a category of that department, or you can even use tags or supplies or certain descriptions. You go crazy.
The other challenge with a stock take is that it's fair to say, I think we see customers kind of get in their head about it and worry about it a lot, and therefore not get to the stock take. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, they can look at it as a very, very big task, when in truth, whilst it might be just time consuming, it's not hard, it's quite easy. And there are multiple ways in which you can get the data from actually counting your stock into the system. You can do it with a mobile solution, so using a laptop or a PDE, or if your store is too big for that sort of thing, you can use a custom stock, a manual stock take list, and then input that data.
Which we'd recommend against.
Yeah, it's not really the best solution unless you are like some of the biggest nurseries out there, or places that just don't want to invest in a mobile solution. But a mobile solution would be faster still.
You've kind of managed stock takes in several of our stores recently, and you had, depending on the day, you had one or two other people there who were doing stock take work under your guidance. Now, we're doing stock takes in our own shops, and our Malvern shop, for example, that's probably about 300 square meters. Our approach typically is to set up a laptop or a tablet computer that's completely portable around the shop.
Yep, absolutely. I used my own computer for that as well.
Yeah. So we connect those via Wi-Fi. We have a barcode scanner attached to the computer, and that way the stock take is being done directly into the software, live, no interruptions, and it doesn't matter about sales. Sales can still happen beautifully in the shop.
Absolutely. So with using Retailer on your laptop or any computer, and you're scanning in stock, it doesn't matter if you sold an item 2 minutes ago, then you count that you've got 6, and a customer walks in behind you, takes 2. Yeah. Your count would have been 6 at the time it was scanned, but it will set to 4 when you hit process. So it is counting sales and even arrivals after that.
So in terms of kind of managing the process, if somebody said to us, what's the best way to do a stock take? I think you'd probably agree. We'd say, do it on a laptop or a tablet computer with a scanner attached out in the body of the shop, so that you take the technology to the inventory and you literally scan the barcode, count the items, punch in the quantity.
Exactly. Some people are concerned that they need to close their business for this sort of activity. Yeah. The answer is no, you don't. Absolutely not. You don't need to get external stock takers in if you're willing to do it yourself. The point is, you do it live. Let's say you do, as we can see in the picture behind yourself, there's a section of cards there. I would focus on getting that wall done And once that's done, if my battery is going to sleep, then that's fine. I will go and put my laptop on charge and come back in an hour and do another section. It doesn't matter how many items are sold out there. The one proviso is that you want to look at whether you're going to be receiving stock whilst you're doing this procedure, because that can create a bit of havoc.
So just as a guide, I think you had 2 people out at Malvern.
Yes.
Yep. And that's about $120,000 worth of stock, and you did that in just under 2 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just under 2.
And a lot of that was kind of old stock too, because we were taking over a business, so it was pretty crappy sort of stock. But the beauty of it is you get to touch the stock, you get to see it and make decisions as you're going through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there was stock there that had been sitting there for so long that I hadn't seen the data. I didn't know what was there, what the data was, or anything like that. But by putting my hands on the stock, I could go, right, we're going to put that in a clearance bin, but I still need to stock take it. Or I'm going to write that off. Well, I'm going to count it now, put it in, and then put it in a place where I'm going to go write it off after that, so I can get a proper report and have it feed through to Xero, do all the good things.
So there, what you did with those businesses was a full stock take.
Yes,
literally started here and worked your way through the shop in a methodical way.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Now, even with that, because of how the data is being collected and the fact that we're doing it live on the laptop or the tablet computer, you could actually take a break for a day and come back to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because everything's timestamped.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's quite easy.
So talk to me about where people get hung up about the selections they go through when they're setting up to do a stock take, about, clearing quantity on hand and things like that.
One of the common misconceptions that everyone makes is that you've got to clear the quantities before you do the process. The answer to that is no, you don't. When you go to process the stock take, the system will say to you, do you want to clear what hasn't been counted? And the answer to that then is yes, because you've counted everything. Then when it clears the stuff that isn't affected, that gets counted in the variance, which is potentially what's been lost. But if you'd cleared everything first and then counted it, the variance is everything you've counted. It makes no sense. That's not what we want. So we want to track the variance live. So don't clear at the start. One of the other misconceptions, as I've already said, you don't need to close. Do you need to have all your staff there doing it? No, many hands make light work, but that's about it.
So one of the ways that we've seen people do a stock take is they might have, for example, you situated at the counter, and then I'm in the shop, I gather some items, put them in my arms and bring them up to the counter. And I say, oh, there was, 10 of those and 3 of those and 5 of those. That's invitation for mistakes, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You're just opening yourself up to human error. That's just a messy way.
Yeah. We also see people who, when they're doing stock takes, they get stuck in the sense that they, like if someone's using a laptop, they think, oh, I can't trust my Wi-Fi. I need to cable this in to the network. Talk us through those choices.
So with some businesses that may be a concern, but generally you don't need to worry about it. Normally Wi-Fi is strong enough. If you take your laptop very far away from the access point, then that becomes a problem. And you should look at a different solution to connecting to your data live, or look at a different mobile solution such as a PDE. And we'll get into the PDE because it's one of my favorite ways to stock take for the bigger stores. I do love them. They're pretty fun. And you can,
I think they're a pain in the neck.
Pardon?
I think they're a pain in the neck.
No, they're awesome. They're awesome. We'll come back to them. But back on the Wi-Fi situation, whilst retailer is slower on Wi-Fi, okay, it just is. It still works because when you scan something, the scanner is still going to transmit that barcode into the system, and the system knows that the scanner presses enter at the end, so it moves to the next field, and then you go 6, enter, and even though the screen hasn't refreshed, scan the next item, it's still going to work. But you can't go too fast. You do have to stop and make sure that it is picking up every item correctly. If for some reason if you don't like how slow it is, you can consider remoting into one of your other machines with a laptop. So using your laptop, remoting into a backroom PC through TeamViewer or Google Chrome Remote, or any other remote program you want to use, you're doing it on that machine using this machine to control it through there. Your scanner will work on your laptop transmitting the data through remotely, and I sometimes find that faster. Well, generally it is faster.
Yep.
So there's that as a solution. But I used laptops to stock take so many stores. You just get used to the speed.
So Matt has asked the question: can you use Remote Connect for items stored off-site during a stock take?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. If you use Team, yeah. So
that's what you said just then.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I could, my shop is my shop, and I might have a shed in 4 kilometers away. I can just take my laptop there, paired to my phone for internet.
Yep.
Remote connect and add that stock in.
Yep. So I'm a pretty nervous stock taker. I've never done it before. I'm getting in my head about all the questions I have to answer before I get going. What if I start it and I've been going for an hour or so and I think, gee, I've screwed this up. I want to start again.
Yeah, you can just delete the stock take and you can start again. Absolutely.
Is that easy to do?
Oh yeah, deleting the stock take is very easy to do. It's literally a button. You press it, it'll ask for a password because you want a bit of protection from accidentally clicking it, just losing everything instantly. But then you put in the password and bang, it's gone. Or just hit new stock take and start again. You can leave the old. You can just even close the old one. It sits there. Could lead you to a problem later on if someone accidentally processes it. But delete it, start again. Pretty easy.
You come across as pretty confident about all this. I suspect there have been a few stock take horror stories for you, though.
Yeah. We do get a pretty common one. Some people hit the process button too quickly, or a staff member comes along and they don't. They just start pressing the buttons, process, and they say yes, and then they go, "Oh no, I didn't mean to process that right then and there." So we do deal with that quite a fair bit on support when it comes to stock taking, and we've got the codes to reverse it and unprocess it, so you can then carry back on where you were, or reverse the effect of your quantity on hand.
I was more interested in Michael Mackey failures, things that you've done wrong in stock takes. I know you may not think you've done anything wrong, but have you ever had a situation where a stock take's gone bad?
I can't really say yes. I can definitely say I can be. I choose to not stock take certain items because I can't be bothered. I know they're not handled properly in the first place, so I just go, I'm just going to ignore that stand of card. Or if there's people who have products that aren't in their stock system, that can be a pain to deal with. We had one in Malvern where there was a particular stand of a particular range of cards that was never input, doesn't have barcodes, and was sold as dollar card. And you go, okay, well, I know this is a problem, and I will just add it onto the stock valuation manually at the end. Just tell me how much they cost, and I just add it in manually. And then we made a product in the system, so it worked.
So the example you've given there really does speak to the importance of making sure in the day-to-day operation of your business that everything that you sell, you arrive into the software so that one, it scans at the counter, and secondly, you can also stock take it and properly manage it within the business.
Yeah, well, you can track your inventory. I mean, you can't tell if things have been stolen if you're not doing any form of tracking. So every single product should be arrived and should be sold. Back to my laziness, it was regarding coloured card. If I was in that store right now, it'd be one of my tasks or end goals is to sort that whole stand out. I want to make sure what I'm arriving it under matches what it's being sold under. So this stuff doesn't have barcodes, but I've got buttons. So I want to make sure the barcode assigned to that button links back to what I've arrived it as.
So we're recording this in early May. People want to have their stock take done by the end of June. My takeaway from what you're saying is it's pretty simple. Don't overthink it. Get started and do it in small steps between now and then, and you'll have it done in plenty of time.
Yep. And if you do think you've got the areas where you haven't managed your stock properly, ignore it. Do it separately at the end. Do a full stock take. Wipe your store clean, get it nice and ready for everything that is scannable.
Yep.
And plot out those areas that you need to go and fix. And you can do what's called a spot stock take.
Yep.
Okay. A spot stock take is through the same function as full stock take, because it says full/spot. The difference is when you answer the question, do you wish to reset the quantity on hand for items not stock taked? So in the first instance, you do the whole shop. The answer is yes. Then when you do the same stock take, you answer no, because you're going to focus on that one section, that one stand of card in my example. of coloured card? And you say no, because it only then affects what I have counted.
Yep.
Some people do a spot stock take on their cigarettes because it's just quick to go, right, I'm just going to do the Winnies, the Winfield 30s and all the gold, the blue and that. And they just go, yep, I've counted those, bang, bang, bang. Those are good. Right, that's fine. I don't have to touch the rest of my other cigarettes. You don't need to do it. Go ahead.
I know you're giving the example of cigarettes. To be relevant to all of our customers, though, they should think about the cigarette example as applying to anything that is easily stolen, anything that's easily going to move at speed within the business.
Yeah,
they're the sorts of things that you would be managing that way. It's always good to have something that you're checking within your business to allow you to be able to take the temperature to see if theft is a problem, particularly customer theft.
Yeah.
So talking about the importance of arriving stock, can you use the software as a wallet and a wireless scanner to arrive stock via barcode? In our case, box, absolutely.
Absolutely. So the wireless handheld scanner, there's a Honeywell one that we've got on our website, is perfect. It's connected to your computer via a USB and the scanner sits on the dock. You can then take that scanner off the dock, and I've taken that scanner 30 meters away, line of sight. Okay, so there was only one gyprock wall, and it was picking up and still sending barcodes back to that computer. So, you had to do a fair bit of walking backwards and forth in that example, but yeah, it'll work 10 meters easily.
Yeah. The only time it's going to be challenging is if you're, say, in a shopping centre where you've got a lot of steel reinforced concrete around you, and that's going to have challenges around USB connection that way. Yeah,
well, if your scanner's in the back room, say with Knox or Malvern, it might struggle to get to the front of the shop, but it will easily do 80. In your case of Malvern, it will do 80% of your shop, which is right up to the front counter. I'd say it might struggle to do the front counter, but that's
okay. So let's see what other questions people have that we can go through.
Cool. Or I can mention the PD if you want a little bit of detail on the PDE.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the handheld PDE is not entering data in live into retail. All it is barcode and quantity.
Yep.
Nurseries use it, and the way to use this device properly is to do a small section and upload that data.
Yep.
Okay. And the customer can walk behind you and take an item. Now, because I'm managing a small section, say a row, I'd start scanning, watching. This customer picks up an item over there. I'll just ask that customer, can I borrow that? Or if there's another one on the shelf, I'll scan it. All right. It increases the quantity to 8 because every time you scan, it counts. So it now says 8, and I'll minus away 2 because it was 7. Customer's taken 1, therefore I need to set it to 6. So because my PD increases it, I just go tap, backspace, 6 because it went to 8. And that's how you manage that. And what you want to do once you finish your section is get that PDE to the computer, plug it in, transfer the data off of it, import it into your stock take, and that section is now safe. Any customer can buy stock from there because it's now tracked that it's been imported.
Yep.
So the PDE is really good if you've got those big faraway sections. I did it. I had to use the PDE in your store stock takes because we didn't have enough computers. And the PDE was an all right mobile solution because I could just go beep, beep, beep. I was counting via the beeping, watching the screen as well. And once I'd done a decent section that I was comfortable with, not afraid that many customers were interfering in my section, I could upload it when I was ready.
Going back to the devices people use, we've said a laptop, but even a Microsoft Surface is going to be fine.
Yeah, a tablet is absolutely fine. Yeah. You can use that with a wireless scanner or a wired scanner if it's got a USB port and the on-screen keyboard. So you don't even need to have a keyboard attached. You can tap the screen and it will do the job for you. Yep. Or you can set the system to count by scanning of 1, like the PDE does, beep, 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 and it will just always add.
Yep. I'm very aware that we'll have a whole bunch of people who will not think about stock take until that last week of June. That doesn't make sense to anybody because first of all, you're busy enough at the end of financial year, but also there is absolutely nothing stopping you doing it now.
No,
and
nothing.
A good stock take is going to help you make better buying decisions.
Absolutely.
hopefully it's going to help you have less dead stock in your business, because dead stock is a huge cost to the business.
Yep.
So who else has questions? No one at all?
Who here would prefer to do a full stock take around this time to the end of financial, or would prefer to do multiple custom stock takes throughout the month? Say plan your year. So do one department in January, one department in February, or two departments. Because if you just repeat that cycle every year, that's also good enough.
So, I mean, you know our situation. We've got 4 stores, and we typically we will do it once a year, whole of business.
Yeah,
it's just an easier way to do it.
Yeah. It's
primarily because we run the shops with a very lean roster, and so we bring in people like you from our installation and training team to do the stock take. Also, it's a good training process for people who are new to retail.
Absolutely, yeah, it's fantastic.
So,
yeah, that's exactly right, Matt. That's a very good example. Just do a quarterly one, doing a quarter of your store. That's fine.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. All right. Well, look, if we don't have any other questions, our plan with this is to say this is the basic information on doing a stock take. We'll come to that question on Remote Connect in a minute. But in terms of the stock take itself, where do they find it?
Inside retailer, along the top, you've got stock maintenance, then stock take and stock take.
Okay. And secondly, is it password protected?
It can be. It is not by default. But processing a stock take is password protected by default.
And that'll be level D password.
It is level D by default, yes.
Yep. Cool. Okay.
You do need staff set up in the system to be able to process a stock take.
Yep. All right. And finally, the one thing the stock take brings into focus, like we said before, is the importance of accurately receiving invoices into the system.
Absolutely.
Because it sets up your data from the beginning. So let's look at the question from James about the programs best used for Remote Connect.
When we first started getting asked this question, we would say TeamViewer, purely because it's the product we use to remotely access our clients' machines when they want us to help them. It is free for a while. Like the TeamViewer, the company does track, and they will limit your session if you use it too often because they want you to pay for the license. A free solution that I actually do like is Google Chrome Remote. With a Google account, you can set it up to access any machine. Given that only one person can really use that machine at the time, it's not where a staff member can be serving on it and you can be accessing it, doing a stock take at the exact same time. That won't work. But it is a free solution. And in some cases where TeamViewer was lagging a little bit, I found Google Chrome faster.
Yep.
You can go and set up remote desktop connections, but that opens your computer up to a little bit more security threats, whereas readily available remote connection programs, such as Google Chrome or TeamViewer, have all the security built in, so they're quite safe to use straight away.
Yep. And that's really what you'd mainly recommend?
I'd only recommend those two, yes.
Right, okay, cool. And remind me again, the Google one doesn't have a cost?
No, free. It's amazing.
Cool.
If it is linked to StorePOS, then yes and no. Like if you've opened the stock take screen, you can minimize it and do a sale. And if you're working together with the person at the counter and the person controlling the remote machine movement, yes, you could do it. But you can't both be doing a stock take and a POS sale at the exact same time. You do have to share use of that computer.
Okay, but if we can come back to the example at Malvern where we did one recently, we have 2 registers at the front, we have a computer at the back office. I think for the stock take, you had a second computer running in the back office as well, from memory.
No, because the counter wasn't as busy. We actually remoted into one of the POSs.
One of them.
So they had one POS full time for sales, and if they did need more, I just stopped using it. So
if you've got multiple computers, those computers can still do whatever they're doing in retailer while you're doing a stock take. So it doesn't, doing a stock take doesn't stop point of sale working, is the point.
No, it doesn't have to. No.
It's all dependent on how many computers you have and things like that.
Yeah. And if you've only got, say, 3 licenses and you're remoting into one out the back, you can rent a license for the software for what they cost of $30 a month. So one extra $30 gives you an extra machine if you want to go that way.
We're not turning this into a sales session.
And you open it on a mobile phone that will scan the items.
No.
You can run Google Chrome Remote on an app on a phone and on an iPad, for example, but you'd need a scanner to then connect to it as well. So you'd need a Bluetooth scanner as well. So it's almost a solution, but not necessarily. I haven't got any experience with any other apps that would allow you to do what you're asking.
If it's likely you're going to want to modify stock information when you're doing a stock take because maybe a description isn't accurate or something like that, that's where having the laptop is going to make it easier.
Yeah, the full access to retailer is much more user friendly.
Yeah. And so, I mean, James, we can certainly see the question there. We're pretty simple when it comes to these things. We're going to preference the easier solution rather than something that might be something we haven't tried ourselves. So that's why we'd say, look, you probably could do that, what you're trying to do, but we don't have any experience with it ourselves. We've not done it with our stock takes. Okay, Michael, is there anything else that you would add?
Not at this point. Don't be afraid. Stock taking is very easy. Not too hard. Some people find it therapeutic. Do I enjoy doing it? After a break between the last one.
Look, I think it's a necessary evil in business. The critical thing about it is it gives you good data. That data should help you make better buying decisions, and better buying decisions should make the business more valuable. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. And so, you know, we've certainly seen businesses where they haven't done a stock take for 5 or 6 years, which is horrifying. And typically in those businesses, we will see 25 to 30% of their inventory investment is wasted because it's dead stock. And that dead stock comes about because of this, of the failure to stock take. So all we'd say is get in and do it. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about it too much. This video and the advice in our knowledge base really has everything that you need to use to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's even the previous videos on the topic as well, which I'm sure we'll link back to somehow, or they might even be on the knowledge base.
We might delete them, Michael. This is perfect.
This
we might just delete
it.
All right. If there is nothing else, we will leave it there. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.